Hello and a very warm welcome to another edition of Talking Germany, the show where we do just that. And our guest today is a man who's made a name for himself in recent years here in Germany with a series of best-selling books that amount to a passionate crusade in defence of the German language and against the sloppy grammatical habits of the modern age, as well as the infiltration of the would-be global language. Yes, you've guessed, English. Now, the man who's fighting this good fight is bastiansick. Bastian, thank you very much for joining us today on Talking Germany.
Hello, and thank you very much for this warm welcome.
Bastian, I said it already, you're one of the most talked about authors in the German language, defending the German language. How do you account for your success in this huge upsurge of interest in the German language?
Yes, well, I'm delighted at my great success. I really hadn't expected it. I'm also aware that my name is a bit of an obstacle to an international career. You were nice enough to say it with a soft S and not to pronounce it sick.
We'll come back to that.
But in Turkey, for example, it means something completely different, namely the male sex organ. So I'd really do great there. In German, on the other hand, it means Sieg, victory. That comes from the Low German, the North German word for victory.
OK, but what about the interest in the German language? Everybody's reading your books. Why?
It's probably because the German language has long been neglected as an issue. In the course of the '68 revolution and big social changes, grammar was, well, sort of leveled or even ditched. There were no more grammar lessons, and normative teaching was badly undermined. We no longer said, that's the standard, that's what you should learn and use properly. Instead we said, do what you think's right. It doesn't really matter whether there's a comma here or not. The main thing is you learn to discuss it, to develop your personalities. That's much more important. So then everybody had a developed personality, but nobody could talk or write properly, because the rules hadn't been taught. And then you let all these people loose on the world of work, and they become graphic designers or copywriters, and none of them knew German properly, at least as far as the rules of grammar were concerned.
Stop.
Okay.
That was the world according to bastiansick. The singing bastiansick. What does the German language tell us about the German people?
Oh, that's a different question. Difficult question.
What does the language say about the people? We are very meticulous. We are...
It's a very precise language.
Yes, German can be very precise if you make the effort. Of course, you also have to have a command of the language and its possibilities.
And you blame the fact that there's a problem with standards, with precision in the German language, on the hippies, the '68 generation. It's a bit one-sided, isn't it? Yeah. You could blame it on the internet. You could blame it on TV. You could blame it on the fact that people don't read books anymore.
Yeah, but who made the internet and the TV?
Who made the internet? That's the '68ers as well. The hippies. Yeah.
The hippies. Now grown up.
Are you a conservative?
A little, yes, of course, and I'm proud about. Ja, also das Internet hat natürlich auch zu einem Sprachwandel beigetragen.
Of course, the internet has led to a change in the language. Professionals used to be the only people on TV or radio. And if you wanted to put an advert in a paper, you had it done by a typesetter.
And it all had a lot to do with Ordnung, that wonderful German word order, which I know you love. But you're talking about the internet as being somehow leading to sloppy standards. But this new generation on the internet, that's you.
Yeah. That's
the strange thing. I came from the internet myself, but in a roundabout way. I never ever dreamt I'd owe my career to the internet.
Meine Karriere dem Internet verdanken würde.
But you're not sloppy.
Nein, ich bin nein. Not at all.
Bastian hasn't just sold truckloads of books, and he really has. He doesn't just have a very successful online column where he is not sloppy, he's also got a travelling stage show. I've just learnt from your fans there that you're very easygoing and very intelligent. You enjoy being on stage?
Yes, it's a lot of fun.
You're a showman.
Maybe, yeah. When I was a little child, I was a member in a choir. Also ich habe immer schon im Chor gesungen.
I always sung in a choir, and I also used to act in a theatre group. I started writing my first novels and plays very early on. I put the plays on at school with my fellow pupils. So there may be an acting gene in my family.
And clearly for you, German can be a language of humour, a language of comedy.
Yes, of course. We are a great nation of humour, as you are.
But there was a problem there, wasn't there? The Germans, it's often said that the Germans do not have a sense of humour, or they do not manifest itself in a lot of the writing and what have you. That was a lot to do with the Nazis and the things that happened with the use of language there. There was somehow something happened there.
Yes, of course. We had a lot to chew on, and so maybe there were some years when there was less laughter. But I don't believe one nation on earth has less humour than another. Humour is fundamentally human. You could also say that a nation is less sexy or less intelligent. But that would be a very dangerous assertion.
We'll go there in a second. We'll talk about that in just a second. Now, even we're talking about humour and being playful and what have you. Now, even if you don't speak absolutely grammatically perfect German, in fact, especially if you don't, you might be interested in winning bastiansick's German language game, which is good fun. All you have to do is get in touch, telling us what you think of the programme. So drop us a line at DWTV, Talking Germany Team, Wolterstrasse 6 in 13355 Berlin, Germany, or send us an email to talkinggermany@dwworld.de. You've got 14 days to get your post to us, and I should add that our decision on who the winner is final. Now, the number of people learning German around the world is apparently falling, which has prompted the government here in Germany to come up with a campaign to generate renewed enthusiasm. It's called German Language of Ideas.
Mach doch nicht solch einen Quatsch.
Students in a German class at the Goethe Institute in Berlin are learning how to pronounce words with difficult sounds.
Ich bin der freche Drache.
The students are being taught to differentiate between CH as in ich and CH as in ach, but some find even hearing the difference tough. Participants come from all over the world, but they're united in their struggle with German grammar and pronunciation. So, how does German sound to them?
Es ist nicht so musikalisch aus Französisch, aber die Vokale in Deutsch sind ein bisschen stärker und langer als in Englisch und ich finde das sehr schön für meine Ohren.
Für mich Deutsch ist so ein bisschen hart und stark.
Ich mag Deutsch. Ich finde, dass es klingt ganz gut und ganz nett.
In order to make the German language more attractive to more people, Deutsche Welle is poised to launch an internet romance called Jojo is Looking for Happiness.
Das ist also Köln am Rhein. Da oben die Kathedrale. Wie sagen Sie hier? Der Dom?
The series about a Brazilian student called Jojo is set in Cologne and shows the life and everyday events in a shared student house in Germany. Deutsche Welle's online language course is supporting the campaign German, a Language of Ideas. The German Foreign Office actively promotes the proliferation of the German language abroad, and the Goethe Institute and other cultural organisations are involved in the initiative. To find out what happens, tune in the middle of April.
Well, there we go. We had a love story, and you were talking about sexy languages. So the question is German a sexy language?
I would say yes, it is. Es kommt natürlich drauf an.
Of course, it depends on who is talking and what the context is. You can pronounce German very sloppily or very aggressively, but there certainly are people who can do it very well, and then it sounds very attractive.
Da klingt es dann wirklich sehr attraktiv.
What's your least favourite Anglicism?
Das macht Sinn. That makes sense.
Yeah, that comes from English?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Vor den 90er
It didn't
Jahren
exist in Germany before the 1990s. We said, das hat einen Sinn or ergibt einen Sinn. Das ist sinnvoll. Or das ist vernünftig. And then we took over that makes sense from the English. Das macht Sinn. I said, that's replacing something that we already have, that we don't need to replace. It's just a linguistic fashion which a lot of people parrot without any thought or reflection. I don't think machen and Sinn, make and sense, fit together either, at least not in the way Germans understand metaphysics. Sinn, sense, is something divine, omnipresent. We cannot make it ourselves. We look for it, it's either there or not. It can reveal itself to us, but we cannot create it ourselves.
Ja, wir können den Sinn suchen. Ist da oder nicht. Kann sich uns offenbaren, aber wir können ihn nicht.
And a thing cannot make its own sense. It either has it or it doesn't.
Sinn machen, sondern sie hat ihn oder sie hat ihn nicht.
In my intro to that report, I said that people are turning away from the German language. Fewer and fewer people are learning the German language. If that's true, what would your explanation be?
Ich kann das so nicht bestätigen.
I can't really confirm that. I'm only now starting to travel a lot at the invitation of the Goethe Institute or German departments at universities. But wherever I go, there's a lot of interest in my shows. People everywhere I see are learning German, even in Canada or Egypt, where I was recently. There's now a German school in Hurghada. I've just done a big tour of Latin America, and for many South Americans, I see German offers a way into some sort of career, into a promising future. They get a scholarship and then study in Germany for a couple of years. When they go back, all doors are open to them. So German is also a motor, a vehicle for a professional career.
Transportvehikel für eine berufliche Karriere.
Okay. Bastian, you live in the city of Hamburg. Yeah? You're a wordsmith, you're a man who works with words. Give me a couple of words that describe Hamburg.
Hamburg is the Elbe, the Ulster, of course, and Hamburg is der Michel. Das ist the church. Das ist unser Wahrzeichen, and not yet the Elbphilharmonie.
Okay, we'll talk about that shortly. Yeah, big topic. Yeah. Okay, he's mentioned it. We're going to go to that area of Hamburg shortly. Bastian has his office right in the heart of the port of Hamburg in northern Germany, in an area called Harbour City, which is, by the way, one of the biggest building sites in Europe. It's a completely absurd situation. You have a landmark in your city, this is what you were getting at earlier,
yes,
that doesn't exist. It's the landmark of the city, but it's not there.
Not yet, yeah. Das ist wirklich verrückt.
That's really crazy. Hamburg is the only big city I know that advertises itself using a trademark that doesn't yet exist. There are loads of brochures, city guides and magazines with the Elbphilharmonie on the front cover.
Die Elbphilharmonie auf der Titelseite tragen und
Tourists come to Hamburg and ask, OK, so where is it then?
OK, not in itself a bad thing. I mean, it could have that we heard there in the report, it could be like the Sydney Opera House or whatever, or like the Guggenheim in Bilbao. Do you think it's going to have that kind of impact for the city?
Ja.
Yes. You can already see that it will be architecturally as significant as the buildings you've just named.
Vergleichbar ist mit den genannten Bauwerken.
What kind of impact is it going to have on your pocket?
Ja.
We taxpayers are having to co-finance it. There'll be no special tax for the Elbphilharmonie. And I don't know how much it'll cost to go in when it's finished either. My office is really close to the building, so I think I'll be going there to listen to a concert every now and then.
Und mir ein Konzert anhören.
Sure.
Ja. Und das
and that could also have consequences for...
I'm very keen to go. I'm really looking forward. I think it's going to be a good building. Yeah, I think it's going to be a good building. They're good architects and they've got a really good track record, it has to be said. We've talked about whether German is sexy. Yeah, we've talked about whether German is difficult. Is it musical?
Yes, of course. You can sing it.
Sing away. Sing away. Oh, no. We'll do that in a second, yeah? What's the last record you put out on your turntable in your chic office in Hamburg?
I've joined iTunes now, so I download things from there.
Und lade mir dort Sachen runter.
Okay, so what was the last thing you clicked onto with a lot of enthusiasm?
Also,
That was undoubtedly a song by my favourite singer, Mireille Mathieu, who is currently getting ready for her next tour of Germany. She's a singer I've been loyal to for many, many years. A French woman who's brought German home to me because her way of singing it is so marvellous. The French have a heavenly accent. In the 1960s and 70s, most of Germany's Schlager music stars were foreigners, or at least had a foreign-sounding name, like Rex Gildo or Roy Black. But most of them really did come from Greece, like Vicky Leandros, or from Denmark or Israel. That way, we ended up with a colourful mix of accents in German.
Einen sehr bunten Mix an faszinierenden Akzenten im Deutschen.
There was one word that caught my attention in there, what he was talking about, Bastian. It was the German word Schlager. It's very, very difficult to translate into English, almost impossible. We'll get him to do it in a second, though. Let's talk about the Eurovision Song Contest first, because it's got a lot to do with what he's just been talking about, Bastian. Now, some hate it, many, many love it, including Bastian. The latest round of this annual ritual is taking place in the Norwegian capital, Oslo. Good song?
Good singer, but the song isn't up to much.
I quite like it, I must say. The Eurovision Song Contest, let's just imagine there are people out there in the big wide world who haven't the faintest idea what it is. What's the fascination?
For me,
it's the European sentiment. In no other cultural event is it on display like it is here. You see it in the audience. People with Finnish, Turkish, Greek or Spanish flags, all there to honour the music.
Und alle stehen sie da zu Ehren der Musik. Das ist doch wunderbar.
Isn't that wonderful? It's not about war or sport or beating each other up. It's about art and culture and, at its best, about beauty.
And Germany, with its musical language, never wins.
Never say never.
We won with Nicole and Ein bisschen Frieden in 1982, and Udo Jürgens won for Austria. It's not Germany, but it is the German language.
We've got Udo Jürgens coming up. We've got a picture of him there.
Oh, yeah,
yes, that's him, visiting my show in Zurich. And there's Nicole.
Okay. So she's won it for Germany. We've got to... I promised the viewers we would tell them there's this German musical type of song called a Schlager.
Yeah.
20 seconds. Define the Schlager.
Oh, it's a popular kind of music, und es ist gut verständlich.
It's easy to understand. It should always have a refrain you can sing along to. Audiences often clap along too. But there are also sophisticated Schlager, which are more akin to chanson.
You've done a good job. They've got a fair idea there. Quiz time, Bastian. Quick questions, quick answers.
Oh, God.
Are you a pedant or a perfectionist?
Oh, perfectionist.
Ooh, I didn't think you were going to say pedant. Are you an educator or an entertainer?
I don't know what a pedant is. Oh, right, pedant.
Entertainer. Yeah, I try my best.
You've been a very entertaining guest. Are you a conservative or a progressive?
Both.
Yeah.
I don't think they're exclusive. I like to save things, but I'm always open to new ideas too.
Eurovision Song Contest or European Soccer Championship?
Oh, Eurovision Song Contest.
That was clear. That was a no-brainer. Yeah?
You know, some people think the Grand Prix is a motor race. That makes me laugh.
Schlager or country and western?
Schlager.
They're both very schmaltzy. To use a German word.
But Schlager is German. And
big question. Is the English language an enemy or a friend?
A friend.
The man of words, bastiansick. That was a good answer to finish it off. If you've enjoyed his company as much as I have, come back next week. Thank you for joining us. Tschüss. Thank you.